Am I the a-hole for telling my biological daughter I was nothing more than an egg donor and that her real mother is the woman who raised her? 25 years ago, my close friend Clara and her husband James were struggling with infertility. Clara couldn't conceive or use her own eggs. She asked me if I would consider carrying a baby for them, using my egg and James's sperm. I had already had my 2 kids and was done having children. I was hesitant at first, but eventually I agreed because I wanted to help my friend become a mother. 9 months later, their daughter Bella was born. From the start, Clara and James raised her as their own. I've always been auntie to her, just a close family friend, and that's all she ever knew. My own kids always knew the truth. I never hid it from them. They understood that Bella was biologically related to them and that I had helped my friend start a family. I never told Bella anything because I truly didn't feel it was my place. It was something her parents needed to decide if or when to tell her. A few weeks ago, Bella and her fiancé were at his family's house, and they all did one of those DNA kits for fun. When the results came back, Bella saw that she had Cuban and black ancestry, which confused her since she knows both her parents are white. Instead of asking them, she used the combination to their safe, which she had learned a while back, and started going through their personal documents. She found an old photo of me pregnant in a hospital bed with Clara holding my hand, and she also found paperwork about Clara's infertility. After that, she started pulling away, especially from Clara, and none of us understood why until everything exploded. My family and I were over at Clara and James's house helping with wedding prep. At one point, Clara and I were in the kitchen talking about my kids, and Clara mentioned that I had paid for both of their weddings. She said she wished she could do the same for her daughter. Bella must have overheard because she walked in and suddenly said that I should be paying for her wedding too, since she's also my daughter. I was totally thrown off. Clara asked what she meant, and Bella just snapped. She said I was her real mother and accused Clara and James of lying to her. She said she had grown up in a fake home while my kids got the life she was supposed to have. She slammed the photo on a table and stormed out with her fiancé. The next day, Clara asked me to come over. Bella didn't want to, but showed up later after Clara begged her. She told us about the DNA test and going through the safe, and how she felt like this answered something she had always felt deep down. She said she's always been jealous of my kids, not just for their vacations or home life, but also because I gave them a good life without any hardships. She said she still loves Clara, but feels like she never really belonged, and now she thinks I'm the missing piece. She even called Clara a child snatcher. That's when I stepped in. I told her she needed to stop talking to Clara like that. She turned to me and said, "You're my real mother. Why don't you love me?" I told her as calmly as I could that I was nothing more than an egg donor. I told her I love her like a niece and that's all. Clara is her mother, not me. I wasn't the one who raised her. I wasn't there for her childhood. Clara was. I never saw her as my daughter because that wasn't the role I had in her life. She left again crying, and since then has sent me over 20 messages. Some are angry and some are pleading. She's asked me to meet with her and James because she says we're her real parents. She says she loves Clara, but insists she's always felt a disconnect, and that I'm the reason why. Clara and I have been in touch since the blow-up, and we're both heartbroken. My husband thinks I should have a one-on-one with Bella, but honestly, I feel like there's nothing left to say. I didn't raise her, Clara did. She was always a wonderful mother, and up until now, she and Bella had a great relationship. I don't know why Bella is spiraling like this. Clara was there for every birthday, every school day, every scraped knee, heartbreak, and milestone. I made peace with my role in Bella's life a long time ago. I never saw myself as her mother, not because I didn't care, but because that was never the agreement. I helped a friend become a mother, and I kept that promise. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I am mixed myself. Bella has light skin with incredibly loose curls. From the outside looking in, she does look like Clara's biological daughter. Now for the top comments. Sounds like Bella is having an existential crisis. Exactly, that's what it looks like to me too. She found out something huge in the worst way possible, and now she's scrambling to make sense of who she is. It's messy, but yeah, definitely feels like an identity spiral more than anything else. She found out something huge in the worst way possible. Clara and James really did Bella a disservice by hiding this from her for 25 years. It's generally considered best practice to be open about things like donation and adoption from the very beginning. Many would be surprised to see how many things a young child can wrap their head around when you're communicating with them. 1. Not the a-hole. You told her the truth. 2. Clara and James should have been open about how she came into the family much sooner and with the help of a therapist. Keeping this a secret while everyone but her knew made her feel betrayed and lied to, which is understandable. 3. Bella needs therapy for herself and family therapy for her and her parents together. If she really felt disconnected, there must be a reason for it. Seriously. My mom met and married my dad when I was a toddler and he adopted me, and they gave me his last name. They could have kept it from me, but they didn't. I always knew my dad adopted me. I never felt bad about it. In fact, I felt chosen, because he loved me and raised me when he didn't have to. Finding out at 25 would have been devastating. I'm glad I always knew. Next story. Am I the a-hole for moving out of my uncle's house when he announced another foster placement? I've been living with my uncle and his wife since I was 8. I'm 19, female now. My parents died in a car accident, and my uncle took me in. When I was 14, they started fostering kids because they said they wanted to help children like they helped me. In the 5 years since then, they've had 8 different foster kids come through, usually 2 to 3 at a time. My uncle and his wife mean well, but they have no clue how to handle troubled kids. The foster children have serious behavioral issues. They steal food and hoard it in their rooms until it rots. They smear things on the walls, destroy furniture when they're upset, and have violent outbursts. One kid punched holes in every door upstairs. Another one threw a chair through the living room window during a tantrum. The worst part is that my uncle and his wife always make me the unofficial caretaker. When they brought in 2 little ones last year, they moved them into my room instead of setting up the spare room properly, and I had to help with night terrors, bedwetting, and basically parenting duties. They're constantly asking me to watch the kids when they go out or deal with crisis situations because you're so good with them. Last month, when my uncle announced they were approved for 2 more placements, siblings with significant trauma backgrounds, I'd had enough. I called my best friend, whose family has always treated me like their own daughter, and begged them to let me move in. They were shocked when I explained everything and immediately said yes. I packed my important documents and belongings and left that same day. My uncle and his wife are furious because they're losing their free help and because I didn't discuss it with them first. My friend's parents had to deal with angry calls, and now my uncle is threatening to report them for interfering with a family situation. Am I the a-hole? You are an adult. Your uncle and aunt can't do anything about where you live. If they keep up the harassment of the family that took you in, encourage the family to press charges of harassment and get protection orders for all of you. Your aunt and uncle may have had good intentions, but it is not enough. They are out of line and not doing anyone any favors, especially you. You are not the a-hole. Protect yourself and start planning your future independence. Thank you. That's really reassuring to hear. My friend's parents are definitely considering legal action if the harassment continues. Report them for what? Your uncle and his wife not only don't know how to take care of troubled kids, but also don't know how to threaten LOL. You're an adult and you can move wherever you wish. They cannot report anything. If at all the police show up, you could just say it was your decision, and your uncle and his wife cannot do anything. Right? I think he's just panicking because he realizes how much unpaid labor he's about to lose. Thanks for the reassurance. I would call up a social worker or CPS, whoever you're used to dealing with, and let them know that you are no longer in the house and you no longer want to be an approved babysitter. I should clarify, in my state, you have to be approved no matter your age to babysit for foster children through CPS, even if you're another child living in the house. Next story. Am I the a-hole for staying full-time at my mom's to avoid my stepsister and my dad's expectations for our relationship? My parents got divorced when I, 16 female, was really little, and my dad remarried when I was 4. My stepsister is the same age as me. I spent every other week at Dad's house, so I had an equal relationship with both of my parents. My stepsister saw her dad once or twice a year, and that stopped happening after a few years of my dad and stepmom being married. Because we were so close in age and somewhat similar, my dad and stepmom decided we would be the best of friends and do everything together. When I was at their house, we were expected to hang out all the time and include each other in everything, even if it was hanging out with friends. My stepsister became super attached to it, but I hated it, especially the part about not being able to see friends without the other involved. After a few years, my stepsister pretended to like all the things I did, so we'd be in the same after-school activities, and so our birthday parties were identical, right down to the type of cake we'd get. It also meant we got fewer gifts and had to share big stuff instead, because we both loved them anyway. At Dad's house, nothing was mine, not my clothes, my toys, or even my room. Whenever I tried to get space from my stepsister, she'd complain to her mom or my dad, and my dad would step in and tell me I needed to make time for my sister. He and my stepmom started pressuring mom to take my stepsister out with us whenever we did things. I remember my stepmom calling my mom a C-word for saying no to taking my stepsister to the trampoline park with me and my friends. Then it was my dad and stepmom yelling at mom for throwing me friend parties and not inviting my stepsister. And every sleepover my mom let me and my friends have was a huge deal to my dad and stepmom. My mom and dad fought in court when I was 10 because dad accused mom of alienating me from my stepsister, and mom wanted to get me therapy to help me process the pressure I faced at dad's house. Dad didn't want me in therapy, except for family therapy. Dad didn't win custody, and mom got to put me in therapy. I tried talking to my dad and telling him I didn't want to be BFFs with my stepsister, and I didn't want to do everything with her, but he ignored it. And he's so much worse now because he acts like I'm bullying her when I don't want to talk nonstop to her, or when I don't include her when I'm at mom's house. So I asked my mom if she could look into getting full custody of me. Her attorney said we could try, and dad counter-filed for full custody, so it was a back and forth between them. Mom had the support of my therapist, and because of that, the judge decided to speak to me. She said she wanted to hear what I'd say, but I didn't get to decide exactly. I told her everything and what I wanted and that I was serious about it. And the judge decided to let mom have full custody of me, but the rule is, I need to maintain phone contact with dad if nothing else. It specifies how long, how often, etc., but I don't need to be at his house anymore. Now, other than school, I never see my stepsister and it's great. And at school, I tell her I don't want to talk and walk away. Plus, I get an extended break because summer. It's great and I'm happy about it. My dad's mad, which I expected, but he told me I wasn't very nice about any of it and that I might not have bullied my stepsister before, but now I basically am, and I'm punishing her for loving me and being my sister. He said I acted like a spoiled mean girl who couldn't handle sharing with someone. And he also said I ran away from most of my family. I don't think so, but maybe he's right, and I do hate that I lost my dad in all of this. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Even if you were full sisters or even twins, you still deserve to have your own life, activities, and friends. If your father and stepmother has let the relationship naturally grow, you may have been closer to your stepsister, but their interference and their delusion that you need to be joined at the hip ruined any chance of that. Not the a-hole. Agreed. I know this stuff happens more often with twins, but it shouldn't happen to anyone. At least me and my stepsister look different enough. I can imagine it's more frustrating when you are identical twins and feel like you're not even you at all. Not the a-hole, but please be wary of planning to go to college. They're going to likely try to pawn you off on the same university, so you can be roommates and save money or some other crap. I wouldn't share where you want to go with dad or stepmom and stepsister. I'd even consider telling them fake universities. I won't share a thing about this stuff with him or them. He doesn't need to know, and I won't risk her copying me because he shares. Last story. Am I the a-hole for saying my dad is only a good dad to my half-siblings, not me, and using other family to back me up? For 12 years, it was just me, 17 male, and my dad, and for 13 years, I was an only child. My mom wasn't involved when I was a baby, like not involved at all. I never actually met her. She died when I was 5.5, and I have vague memories of her funeral. I grew up with both my mom's and dad's families in my life. But at home, it was just me and my dad, and he wasn't Father of the Year, or even a contender either. He made sure there was a roof over my head and food in the house under that roof. That was it. I had different babysitters until I was old enough to do simple stuff for myself. Once I reached that point, at like 5 or 6 years old, I was on my own. Extended family would take me for a day or two at a time. They'd check in. They used to chase after Dad to pay more attention to me. Some offered to raise me too, but he never took them up on those offers, so I stayed with him and went to family members' houses during the day, and some weekends or weeknights if something important was going on at school or whatever. Then he met and married his wife when I was 12, and they had a kid together when I was 13. There was a total change in him. He took some time off work to be with his wife and the baby, got up in the middle of the night with the baby, even after he went back to work. Suddenly, Sunday was family day, and they were doing things together. He and his wife planned for the just in case they both died and asked his oldest sister to take the baby and any other kids if something happened to them. She asked about me, and after a few awkward seconds, he said he figured that was a given. But he never legally put things in place for me according to my aunt. It's just my half-siblings, and I have 3 half-siblings now. All 3 were newborns, and there was something in place for the worst. Apparently, I was 13 when a verbal thing happened for me. Yay! With my first half-sibling being 4 now, I can really see the difference in Dad as a parent, because he actually is one. He's involved in teaching them, in putting them to bed, in making food for them, and in knowing what they will and won't eat. There are all kinds of ways he's involved. And yeah, he has a partner with him now for this stuff, but he had support with me and he didn't do anything. For the first time in over 4 years, my dad and his wife wanted a date night, and Dad told me I needed to babysit on a Friday night. I told him no, and he asked why. I told him I work Friday nights. He said I could call off one night, and I said no. I told him he could afford a babysitter like he did for me when I was younger. Then he said they hate the thought of leaving the kids with strangers, and I asked why he didn't hate that when I was born. He told me it was a different time and set of circumstances, and come on, I'm a part of the family, and babysitting is the role of the oldest. I was like, since when am I part of this family? And he told me, always. Then he said he's a damn good dad, and my attitude is claiming otherwise, and it was pissing him off. I said he was never a good dad to me, only to my half-siblings. He got pissy about it and spent 2 weeks telling me I was wrong. So we had dinner at my grandparents' house, and my 2 aunts and 3 uncles were there with us, and I asked them if Dad was a good dad to all his kids or just my half-siblings. They all said he was hardly a dad to me at all, but was amazing with my half-siblings. His wife stormed off because the kids were at the table and she was like, "Why the heck are you bringing it up in front of them for?" Dad told his family they were being harsh, and they told him they all know me better than he does, and worried about me more than he ever did. Ever since dinner, Dad's been trying to prove he's a good dad to me, and he fails every time. He's mad that I brought family into it to prove a point. His wife's mad that I brought it up in front of her kids. And she's mad that I don't consider myself family and ask what kind of way that is for her kids to live. Then she said I basically made her kids feel like their family cares for them less than they do for me. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not the a-hole. Her saying you shouldn't have brought it up in front of her kids. They're 4 and under. They'll never remember anyway. So that's a pathetic excuse, and just her way of trying to deflect blame away from your dad. And make it about you being the problem rather than him. He's an a-hole for treating you like that when you were young and acting like he did nothing wrong. Now you've told him and all his family members have done too. You're 17. When you hit 18, I'd seriously think about moving out and going low to no contact with him you've put up with for long enough. That's a big part of the reason I'm working so hard right now. I want to get out, but to not need anything from him either. I'll have other family who can help, and that's great. I just never want to find myself needing to beg him for something, because that's what it'd be. Begging. He's not the kind of person I could turn to. Most of my school supplies, even my laptop, were bought by other family members.